how can a country like Pakistan, having a population more than 240 million people, with a significant population below 30 years of age, is failed to produce a single world-class football team that is capable of competing on the global stages like FIFA? A country where the football is so popular among the youth that we see that from the street of Lehari to the mountains of Chitral to Balochistan to Lower Sindh to Punjab, everyone, a game is so much popular that everyone is interested to play it in their West. Yet we as a country could not build a team which is capable of competing those players. Whereas those countries which have a population less than 4 million of people is competing with the elite footballing in these platforms like FIFA. Like we have currently witnessed that many teams which were part of this FIFA were a population below 4 million. Yet they competed. What lagging Pakistan behind? Is it just structural weakness, or there is a governance or any governance vision, or a single governance issue, or there is an modern international politics which is playing a role? So in this video we will dive deep into that different factor which could be a reason for our teams, for our players not being able to compete on the global stage. But before we go on into the discussion that what is a significant reason for Pakistan's not being able to be part of these international stages, we'll discuss that who exactly controls the modern football sport. Today's modern football as a sport is controlled by the Europe. Europe has a significant control over modern football. In a way that the different leagues of Europe, such as English Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, Liga A, these different leagues through them, Europe makes billions of dollars, and mostly also Europe makes significant, huge amount, let's say in billions of dollars from the sponsorship rights, from these commercial rights, marketing rights of players, and the transfer of players, and ticketing of those matches which these host countries organize. It gives leverage to the Europe, that through those billions which they make from these matches, they invest heavily onto bringing the players from different parts of the world, from different continents such as Asia, Africa, South America, because those players do not have much opportunities in their home country. So which compel them to go to the European country and part of different clubs and play for them, because those host countries and ultimately those host countries are at the receiving end, because their capable players go to the Europe side and become part of European clubs, and resultantly they get shortage of good players. And why they get short of good players? Because they do not have adequate resources and capability to afford those and train them. There is a deficiency of coaching. There is a deficiency of skill trainers. There is a deficiency of adequate medical fitness, which is required for these players to be able to perform as a good player in the international football. And how those countries are not able to train their players, because the significant affection of money that Europe make goes to Europeans' own revenue, which they translate into their financial capabilities, ultimately providing way path to their sport, their football dominance. And the host countries, due to lack of resources, they are not able to afford that strong infrastructure which is required, and all the things such as training the players, having a good academy, and the entire systematic working of the whole confederation. They're lagging in everything, and due to the players that travel to these wealthy countries to pursue their football career professionally, those their home countries remain at the receiving end, because they do not have players. So ultimately, their leagues are not performing how they should be performing. So ultimately, so they have to suffer. Their leagues have to suffer because they do not have players, because their players have already traveled to the wealthier countries to pursue their sport career in football. So there is a financial inequality in the sport, that the wealthy nations have monopoly over it, while the nation which are underdeveloped or developing countries, they remain in the receiving end. So they do not have much infrastructure, sufficient investment to cater to their stadium requirements, to building their infrastructure as how it should be. Compatible to those of first world countries infrastructure as far as football sport is concerned. So again coming to the point that what is lagging Pakistan behind into this football category. The first is Pakistan has for a long time remained suspended from playing in global stages in international matches like FIFA due to numerous of accusations which were leveled against Pakistan, and due to the inadequacy of infrastructure, and there was differences between the stakeholders within federation. So because of those suspensions which were kept on Pakistan, and Pakistan for a long time not being able to be part of these platforms, significance age bracket youth, they remain disengaged. They did not have a stage opportunity to become part of a national team, and so due to the differences and all the structural deficiencies, Pakistan could not become part of these stages. If we just give heed to these conspiracies alone, that because of these conspiracies and due to this constant suspension from the FIFA, Pakistan could not get a world-class team, I think we will still making a mistake, because there are so many nations which has a population comparatively low than Pakistan. There's also Croatia, Uruguay, Iceland. These have a population. These are the countries who hardly have a population more than 4 million. Yet their teams have become part of these elite international matches such as FIFA. Some even Croatia went on to become finalist, and yet still won third place playoff, if not won. So just to if we just keep ourselves confined to this mindset that because we did not have a loans a program, we will not become a part of a broader loans funds program that FIFA provides to the smaller nation, which all due to the suspension or due to different controversies or political differences, we could not create build a infrastructure or form team which would be capable of competing these elite football. I think we were making a mistake, and this mistake may continue to repeat, which we should not. Instead, we should look on finding ways that the footballing should be part of our national team, because we have a huge craze for football. You look at the street of Liari, there's a massive craze for football. You see in your vicinity or even from your kids from 8 to 9 of age, they just go out with the football and they play with their intimates. So we should make a comprehensive plan as far as our sport, particularly football, is concerned. Our federation should be strengthened, and all the weaknesses that our federation is facing through, the government should involve all these countries, such as Japan. Japan has a football association. England have its well-structured football association. Even Brazil has a Brazilian football confederation. They have everything is structured. Even coaches are employed. They are paid. There is no irregularity in their payment. Coaches referees are trained, and there is salaries. There is a constant over supervision of the entire federation. How the federation is operating. They are involved in organizing different events to develop interest among the youth. and resultantly they are able to identify new talent. Because those individuals first they enjoy, then they become part of different leagues, and ultimately a strong player for the national team is identified. And alongside those federations, there is a constant matches, the leagues. In one season, there are 30 to 40 matches are organized, which enable them to identify new talent. So in those leagues, the players are trained for the international matches. Their weaknesses are identified. New players are players for the national team are identified through scouting. So everything is structurally planned and executed. On the other end, we are lagging in that. There is no coherence in matches. There is no structural balance in how the leagues should be operating. So ultimately, you cannot when your performance is weak. So how can you expect to get support from the first world countries or from FIFA through loans, through funds? Like if you see in England, there in English Premier League, their matches are consistently organized. So players are never off work. Or in Saudi Pro League, so yeah, they are contributing in their teams. So when you have a consistent players engage in the matches, so they are identified because they are consistently engaged in matches. They are playing the matches. So the coaches identify any weakness, and if there is any weakness in one player and they find strength in other players, so that is identified. So they are such, they have become part of the match, and they go on to play for the national team, and some even go on to make history. Pakistan Federation could have that level of performance if our priorities are set. We for a long time we have it's good that we're giving importance to the cricket. Cricket is itself an international match. People turn up to TVs when there is a match between Pakistan and India or any other country, and we are so proud that we have even won a World Cup in cricket. But we could do the same in football as well. That is possible. That will not be possible unless we set our priorities clear, and that priorities should be translated into our policies. We can. It's possible. It's not a destiny for in Pakistani that it can never compete to those elite footballing, which is a game of a current. There is so much of talent. We have so much potential. People in Lyari they are so crazy about football. Then so people in the Sindh, in Balochistan, in Punjab side, all we have a huge talent from different provinces, regions. Even today, if we every day people are just staying awake all night to watch football. That shows that there is a huge enthusiasm among the people towards the football. We should give a priority to our sport, particularly football. We invest so much in our football, and ultimately when we lean towards some sport, we make that as a priority and we invest on that, and ultimately people's attention and their seriousness also increases along with it, because both things go parallel. And you make a policy and you will see people getting more close to that. Currently our interest from the people is minimum to football because we have given so much of it's good that we are cricket. We take a pride in cricket, but we should give equal importance. One, you can find interest of some in some sport and interest of some in other sport, and everyone should be included. The policy should be for curated in such a way that all the people having a different interest, they find themselves a part of that broader program. So if we give importance to football, so tomorrow we can envisage ourselves or our team to be part of these stages, these international matches, and someday we could bring one FIFA for ourselves. Bill, why should we be only a country known to produce football? Why can't we be the one achieving FIFA for our home? It is possible, but it is possible if our government is concerned about it, because everything will come from the upper to the grassroots. The policy things will come into action when the policies are made effectively, and that policies are made in the high position, and through hierarchy things develop. So football, we can play football. We have so much of talent, but that talent must be identified. So if people are thousands of people, millions of people are turning up to TV, staying all night awake to watch a game, it means that they have an interest. They are so much interested. But we need a effective program, effective planning which is formed and then curated in such a way and then implemented and executed. And that should and things should not be taken for granted. If coach is giving it his time, he should be paid accordingly. Means we have recently we were proud of Arshad Khan. He won he made a history in the javelin. So he would earlier we did not even know we did not even know this game existed. But when we came up with when we got a news that this person has won, we were so proud of him. The whole country was proud of him. Even he was awarded by our Prime Minister. Means there is a potential for every sport, but when that potential can only be realized when you go and identify that talent. Everything is behind the shadow, but we just have to draw the curtain. And I'm looking forward to the time when Pakistan's name will be among those elite teams, and our players' name will be alongside those big players, such as Carlos, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. They started off from some point and they had an opportunity because they had an opportunity, so then they were able to pursue that career as a professional footballer. If they did not have opportunity, they may have a talent, but that talent could not have been realized. And we would not be able to find any name known by Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, or many players. Because they were part of that countries which prioritized its talent. They prioritized their talent, and they gave them. We can do the same. We can do also. We have the potential. We have capability. We are endowed with every capability to compete those players. These Croatia, these Iceland, these are very small countries. They have a very significantly less population, but their players are making history. They continue to make history. They are part of even now current FIFA. They are part of current FIFA. But when talent can only be realized when its country give its due support.